Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Bratislava in Slovakia for round 2 of the 2019 ICF Canoe Slalom World Cup. It's finals time, and as we get into this Olympic qualification year, the 2019 season really building up. So here's the standings after the first race. That was last weekend in Lee Valley in London. So Mallory Franklin, Kimberly Woods, Jessica Fox, they were the top 3. Well, Mallory Franklin, Kimberly Woods not racing in this weekend, but Jessica Fox, a big surprise, eliminated in the semi-final. So here's the start list. The athletes racing in reverse order. So Andrea Herzog, the winner of the semi-final, will go off last for Germany. It is France's Claire Jacquet racing in this, the women's C1 final. Claire Jacquet was 7th last weekend at the first World Cup race in Lee Valley. Just missed out on the World Championship final in 2018, finishing 11th there. But certainly for France, Claire Jacquet just a bit too tight into the upstream gate, and a 2-second penalty added to her time. But it looks like she might still be in contention at the split time.
Oh, pretty fast. 0.07 behind. And she touched with her tail the ground. Maybe
this is where Monica was so strong, though, through those downstream gates and into the upstream.
But she's also really good.
Well, the women's C1 are really showing us how to do
Maybe
this.
I should watch them closely to be better prepared for my race.
And a good upstream gate 22, a little bit low, but keeps the momentum going. So Claire Jacquet of France now, as she sneaks through 23, is racing for the lead. Is she going to do enough? It's going to be just inside. Yeah, super competitive, and of course the women's C1 event will make its debut in Tokyo at those Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games next year, and the Olympic qualification process will get underway. And it's going to be gold for France. Claire Jacquet takes the gold. Then Monica Doria Villarubla, who set the pace, the first person down in this final for Andorra, takes the silver medal. And Ana Chatila of Brazil takes a well-deserved bronze medal.
Yeah, it's my first medal in World Cup since 7 years. So it's a long wait. I'm really happy. I think I can cry now. just amazing. I don't know what to say.
Claire Jacquet takes the early lead in the World Cup for France. Andrea Herzog, 2 consecutive finals, is 2nd for Germany.
I've been twice silver on the World Championships, 3 times European champion. We've won in C1 teams many World Championships, and I was overall 3 times winner of the World Cup, but never been to the Olympics. And as I'm getting older and my body is responding differently for the training pain, I see that probably 2021 I would stop with pedaling. So for me, it's the last chance to get the puzzle completed. In Slovakia, it's a different story, I think, than in other countries, because we had Michal Martikan, who was leading the world's C1 category for 2 decades. And if you wanted to succeed on the international level, you had to be at his level. So for me, it was a motivation to train smarter, harder, and for us in Slovakia, the biggest step is to go through the qualification and be at the games. In these times, we are 3, maybe 4 C1s in Slovakia, which are on kind of same level. So for Tokyo qualification, it will be really open, and each of us can go. Being in country when the canoeing is so known, and especially the C1 guys, everybody is expecting results on each competition, and even the public and the media was asking what's with the Slovak guys. They are not doing results and how it will be for the qualification. And so the pressure is from outside also, not just between us, but the pressure is from the outside. With the illness, I was okay, I have still time. My coach said, don't worry, we have still time. We will restart the season in the second part. And the World Cup here in Bratislava was the first time that I had a good feeling of my run. I really needed this point of satisfaction of the run for my mental calm. And so I know that I'm in good shape technically, but physically I'm not where I supposed to be or when I would like to see myself. And but we have still time to work on it. The second part of the season will show if we manage to do it or not.
And here's the standings after race 1 in the men's canoe singles. So a couple of those athletes, in fact, the medalists from last weekend, not racing here, but we've got some big names nonetheless. Here's the start order. But let's turn our attention to our next finalist, because he is the reigning world champion from 2018. For Germany, it is the 29-year-old Franz Anton. And within the semi-finals, he qualified through into the final with a pretty average run on his by his standards. And if he can find the groove, particularly on this top section, we'd anticipate him to challenge the race lead. This is where there were penalties. And look, 2.5 seconds, he is up. This is where Michael Martikan had problems. It doesn't look like there's any problems for Franz Anton, so it's just this double upstream on Niagara that precision is so important, and he's low.
This will cost him maybe a medal, because otherwise his run was so good.
Well, he's nailed gate 22. Has he made up some time? Franz Anton of Germany surely is going to challenge the race lead here as he comes to the finish. It's going to take the race lead. And there you can see the Thomas Appel, the German coach, watching his every move. Well, there's a very happy Franz Anton of Germany who takes gold here in Bratislava, ahead of Slovakia's Matej Beneš, who takes the silver, and Luka Bozic of Slovenia, who takes the bronze medal.
Unfortunately, it's not an Olympic race for Germany, but still happy with it, and it gives me good feelings that I have won here because of the disappointing race in London. And next World Cup will be in Leipzig, and now I can go there with a victory in my pocket. And this is also an Olympic race, so I can go with good feelings to it.
So here we are, the standings after 2 races. It's actually Matej Beneš who gets slightly ahead of Franz Anton in the standings. Luka Bozic, so the top 3 from today. Here are the standings after 1 race. Mallory Franklin, of course, for Great Britain, winning last weekend, but not competing here. But Ricarda Funk and Jessica Fox, as well as Mylan Shiro. So here is the start list for the women's kayak final. And Australia's Jessica Fox, the world champion. Also, we've got the Olympic champion, Mylan Shiro of Spain. So next up, it is 2-time world champion from Austria. It is Karina Kunler, now very powerful, strong paddler. And if she can deliver this top section, then we'd expect a strong run from Karina.
That was really nice.
So Karina Kunler now. Oh,
little touch with the boat.
So many people hitting that gate 10 with the boat.
Yeah, because the water before the gate, it changed a lot, and if you would like to go more on the left side, then it's big chance that you will touch it. So you need to go really in the middle of the gate, and then you can be safe.
But Austria are on the charge here as she comes into the upstream. Well, it's really tight there. A little bit sticky. Now she's got to deliver this final upstream gate. And Karina Kundler really fighting it out. It's going to be tight. 100.65 is the time to beat. That's the time of Luca Jones. Surely that's going to be beaten by Karina Kundler of Austria. And just inside, 0.94 of a second, Karina Kundler of Austria. Well, congratulations to Karina Kundler, taking gold here in Bratislava. And yes, Luca Jones of New Zealand getting a great performance for silver. Ricardo Funk, what a recovery, getting bronze and adding that bronze to the silver medal she won last weekend.
Yeah, I was struggling in the last two races at Europeans and the first World Cup. I didn't make the final and I missed out last week by just 0.01, so I was eager to push really hard today. I think this is really good for my self-confidence and going forward to the rest of the season with Olympic selections. I think this is going to give myself a bit of a push. It was really tough walking the course and looking at the guys doing it in C1. I was a bit worried in some places, but you just have to push and keep the boat running.
Here are the standings. Ricardo Funk takes the early lead in the overall standings ahead of Jessica Fox. Karina Kundler, the gold medalist of today, moves into third place ahead of the Olympic champion Milan Chiro of Spain.
I feel pressure is not necessarily a bad thing. I guess it depends on how you use it and what you do with it. I guess there's a lot of different kinds of pressure that you have to deal with being an athlete. Of course, I mean, there's different kinds of athletes, and some athletes, they really feed off the pressure. They would just perform really well just on the dot when they have to do it. And some people, they just can't deal with it, but I think it's a way of dealing with it, like really taking it in and trying to put that pressure into a challenge, because I guess that's what most of the athletes, or probably all of the good athletes, what they do is they want to have like really big challenges that they can succeed in. So the harder the course is or the bigger the competition is, they would feel more motivated to give their best. And of course I feel pressure. I guess when I feel pressure, it's when I have to do well at a race, say it's for Olympic selections or for national team selections. Going to World Championships or European Championships, it would be racing a final, trying to win medals. But I usually don't feel any physical pressure. Well, I think you start feeling these symptoms in your body when you can't deal with the pressure, when you don't know what to do with it. And I used to be like that. I used to feel sick before a race. I wouldn't be able to have breakfast in the morning when I was a junior racing. But I learned that through the years of racing, how to use the pressure and turn it into something good and not letting it put me down. Well, I'm not going to tell you all of my secrets, but I have like let's say like a happy place I go to in my head, and that really calms me down. It only takes a few couple of breaths and then I'm there, and that sort of helps me getting into the zone where I can visualize my run before the race. And I think that's part of what makes it easier to deal with the pressure in a race, because what makes you feel nauseous or sick before a race because you feel the pressure is the unknown. It's being scared of what happens, what can happen. And the more you visualize your race or your run before, the more often you have been there before. So it's not something that's uncertain. It becomes more certain. In my point of view, it's important to feel pressure. It's good to have it there, and I think if you don't feel the pressure anymore, then the racing would be pointless a little bit. It takes the adrenaline out of the racing if there is no pressure. And I think the most important thing is to start feeling it and then dealing with it and knowing it's there and then turning it into something good that you can feed off and get better with.
But now we are going to turn our attention to the men's K1. Here's the standings after the first race. Great Britain's Joe Clark took the gold in Lee Valley. He's not racing here this weekend, but Yuri Preskovic and Hannes Eigner are racing, and they are both in the finals. And here is that start list. Reverse order of the semi-final, and Hannes Eigner was fastest. He's, of course, the world champion from 2018. Well, next up is the second Slovak competitor in this 10-boat men's kayak final, and it is Ondrej Malek of Slovakia. So, has had a distinguished career at under-23 World Championship level. Never made the mark yet in senior level, but is this going to be his chance in front of the home crowd here in Bratislava? Well, now he comes into the grandstand section. This will be where he'll get that home crowd support, the noise from the grandstand opposite gate 13 and 14. Well, he's gone for the spin, but he's keeping it tight around 13. That's a great upstream. And he is up on Michał Pasiut of Poland, so he is absolutely on fire here, but it's all down to the last two upstreams. And what will he do? Well, he's certainly cutting the lines fine. One more upstream gate stands between him and the finish line. He's not as quick as Pasiut of Poland.
And now he's losing on time. Oh no.
And he's late. Well, let's have a look. It's going to be close. I think it's going to be outside, but it is into the race lead. Ondrej Malek of Slovakia. That means that Slovakia have a gold medal here in the men's K1 event. So it is gold for Slovakia in this men's K1 kayak competition. Ondrej Malek putting an outstanding performance in the final ahead of Michał Pasiut of Poland and Boris Neveu of France.
So I do K1 as well, and you're one of my idols. I've always watched you from years ago when I started slalom, because I'm not a junior paddler anymore. I'm like growing up through slalom. I wanted to know, like, throughout your career, you've had some amazing wins and successes and incredible journey, but you've had some failures. And how do you cope with not racing how you expected?
For me, each failure or each race which didn't end up as I wanted it to end up was, I was so disappointed. It took maybe a week, sometimes even longer, when I missed my qualification for Olympics in Beijing. It was so bad, like the next months were so tough for me. And with my coach, we always try to analyze the whole performance to find why I did a failure.
So you have a like a structure after races where you figure out exactly what you need to take from it, or?
It's pretty important to look back at the race, to do the video analysis after maybe 1 month, 2 months later. Because right after the race, there are so many, like we are angry, and there are so many things which influence your analysis.
Yeah. Okay, that makes total sense, like analysis without the emotion, so you can carry it through the rest of the season. Yeah. Another thing I want to ask, but I know that loads of my friends and my colleagues want to ask as well, is when you decided to have a baby, how easy was it to start the conversation around sports and having a child at the same time? Like, it feels like an inaccessible thing to women at the moment.
You know, I finished fourth in Rio, and if I had a medal in Rio, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah.
I would be completely satisfied with my career, and I would be somewhere else probably.
Yeah.
But this fourth place was a huge motivation for me to come back. But at the same time, I knew that it's time for a baby, because I'm getting older and older, and I don't want to miss this. So we decided, okay, we will have the baby, and then I will try to get back and qualify for Tokyo. And it's terribly hard, I must say, compete with those young girls who are 24 hours per day focused on their performance and having so much things to do with the baby and traveling with the baby. It's pretty hard stuff, but thanks to Robbie and all my family helping me with this, I hope I will be able to do this.
Yeah, and you've made such an amazing comeback already. It's so cool to see, especially for all the girls in every team, which is kind of like, you can have it. You can have a life after a child. Like, it's not just ending your career at this one place.
Like, we have seen amazing example with Mayal and Shuro.
Yeah.
I know it was not easy, but she did it, so
And then won
it's
Olympic
absolutely,
gold.
it's possible.
Thank you for being so candid with your answers.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And good luck.
Oh, cheers.
Well, here we are, the finalists in our Extreme Canoe Slalom World Cup. So there, Ashley Nee gets in from the start. Then we see bib number 1, Susanna Baliova, just gets spun out, and Evie Leapfarth of the United States takes absolute advantage of that and snatches second place.
Ashley Nee just sneaking out there in front of Evie, just pushing her in. Really opened up the door for the Russian girl, Daria.
There we have it, the results from the final of the women's extreme canoe slalom. And it's Ashley Nee takes the gold for the United States of America, and Evie Leapfarth, a 15-year-old from the United States, takes silver.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to end the weekend. There's not as many girls as I'd like to see this run, because a lot of Olympic selections are happening at this race and the next couple, so hopefully more and more as the season goes on.
And, well, what a lineup we've got. And it is Vavra Hradilek, Pedro Goncalves, Martin Stanovsky, and Alexander Nepogodin. And here it is. They're all pretty even on the start, and a lot of action. And, well, that's where we saw bib number 3, Martin Stanovsky, just eliminated at the early stage. A great shot there of all the athletes. It was a good close final, and synchronized rolling. Maybe that's a new sport for the Olympic Games. Not synchronized swimming, synchronized rolling, but it's Vavra Hradilek of the Czech Republic who, well, he won the quarterfinals, he won the semi-finals, and he has taken gold here in Bratislava for the men's extreme canoe slalom final.
I mean, it's a fun course. There's a lot of diagonal waves and a lot of humps. For slalom venue is super good, even for border cross. So, and we had an awesome fight with Pepe in the final, my good friend, and yeah, I loved it. It was awesome.
But from Bratislava in Slovakia, it's goodbye, and we'll see you next weekend in Slovenia for World Cup 3 on the Great Tarts and Whitewater course. From me, Andy Maddock, thank you for joining me, and goodbye.